Shadow Wind Kick travels about 60% as far as it used to. Still goes just as fast, though. So as you can see, it goes a little bit farther than Sabrewulf's Shadow Pounce, Shadow Leap Claw, whatever that's called, Leap Slash. It's still very useful for punishing fireballs from kind of zoomed in full screen distance, which is about here. But from zoomed out full screen, you're not going to be punishing Glacius fireballs anymore, Glacius hail anymore. And I think that's very, very fair Jago change. The next change we made to him is that his heavy wind kick was uncharacteristically safe for how far it traveled and how big a priority it had. So we've decreased the pushback on the move. Go ahead. Decreased the pushback and made it a little less safe. So if you're going to get that blocked, you're going to get hit now. So you're going to have to use medium wind kick and light wind kick a little bit more because they remain unchanged. There were some opener ender situations that Jago was able to counter break out of. We've fixed those up, so you can't do that anymore because that was silly. And here's the big news for Jago. We've updated his instinct. There were some things that were happening in Season 1, particularly with him regaining a ton of health while you couldn't move between rounds. And just the general fact that it was very hard to communicate to a new player what his instinct actually did and when and why, right? Oh, it's a healing instinct, but how do I make it heal? What actions make it heal? When does it heal me? It's just like, it's really hard to kind of put that all together for a new player. Plus, the utility of it is all frame database. He got +2 frames on all of his normals and specials, which is awesome if you know what frames are or care about that.
Right.
But if you don't, it's like, now he's just a glowing guy who occasionally gets a little bit of health back. So we amped it up. Now in Instinct, Jago can throw Shadow Jago's double fireballs. We removed his healing. However, fireballs that hit opponents will heal Jago directly. And you can see the little healing bolts traveling back to Jago. This counts for all his fireballs. Shadow 5 hits, his Ender fireballs heal him, and then you can juggle into Shadow fireballs, and his double fireballs, of course, heal him. They heal right now about 2% per hit. If your opponent refuses to block, you can gain back a lot of health.
Right.
And we found some really cool juggles and setups to earn back a lot of health in hit confirms as well, which is really, really nice. So I encourage Jago players to get in there in the lab and find some amazing double Endokuken setups. And it's really fun. It gives him a lot of interesting offense. Endokukens point blank are like -2. So he has a lot of really, really strong frame traps. Of course, you can do a grab, cancel that into Shadow Laser Sword, and then juggle into the fireball. So you can get a combo into a heal, into a cash out. He's nuts. He's super, super scary in Instinct mode. So be on the lookout for that. And that's Jago. That was your baby. You were really scared that I was going to destroy your baby. How do you feel?
You did good. I actually really enjoy this instinct. It makes it a lot more than me just backdashing to get health. It's like, oh, I killed you. I'm going to instinct and backdash for a while.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's Jago. Let's move to the next character. How about Sabrewulf? People love that guy, right? Mm-hmm. They love Sabrewulf. Let's talk about Sabrewulf. And of course, Glacius will be after him, so we'll load Glacius up as well. 2 for 1 on the loading time here. Fight on. Sabrewulf. So a lot happened with Sabrewulf. He was one of the most talked about characters in Season 1, for sure. Pretty much everybody I met in the wild either came up to me and said, nerf Sabrewulf, or please don't nerf Sabrewulf. And the people saying, please don't nerf Sabrewulf, were probably Sabrewulf players.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I don't feel in Season 1 that Sabrewulf was the top character, but I do feel that he was a very easy character, and at his skill cap, he was very effective for what he was. And I think that that's okay. You want a character that, I mean, he's you know, Weskerish in that way. He gets to the good stuff faster than some of the other characters, and that's great. It's a great point of entry for players in the game. We didn't want to take any of that away. So here's what we did. Sabrewulf. Should I start here? No, I should save this for the end. I'll start with a little good.
Yeah.
No, I'll start with, okay. I'll save it for the end. Okay.
I think I know what the first
Yeah, all
one
right.
is.
All right, so the forward dash. The forward dash is the same duration as it always was. It's still a 19-frame dash. However, he used to be very front-loaded in that animation. He kind of stood still for a while, and then he sprung forward, and then he was behind you and he was attacking you.
Right.
Now he moves forward almost instantly, and he suffers most of that initial startup at the end instead. So he's got recovery instead of startup. But it's the exact same duration as it always was. You can still get in on people and go nuts with it. It's really, really, really strong and really, really confusing. But An opponent who reads this or reacts to it and presses a button, their button is much more likely to come out facing the correct direction this time.
Right.
Because before he moved so late that if you reacted to it, he was passing through as your button came out, and it came out the wrong way. So Sabrewulf players will have to definitely convince their opponents they need to block a little bit better in Season 2 before they start dashing through. Otherwise, they're going to eat it. Next change. One additional frame has been added after the Super Flash before Shadow Eclipse hits. Remember this unblockable? Now Chase is going to block it on reaction, except for he's not in control of his character.
That would be very helpful.
Okay, here we go. Easy peasy, because that one extra frame. It's also one frame slower, which puts it more in line with moves similar to it, such as TJ's Vortex and Cyclone moves.
Right.
Still very, very strong move. You're just not going to get the shenanigans out of it that you used to get. Backdash. Oh boy. So he had a backdash that went as far as Orchids, but recovered in the same amount of frames as all the short backdashes.
Right, yep.
So now it goes about the same distance as the other short backdashes, about 60% as far as it used to. He crosses the screen in 4 of these now instead of 2. Much, much more fair. Sabrewulf is a very potent offensive character.
Right.
He should not be a defense-loaded character, and I think Shadow Eclipse and Backdash made his defense too strong in Season 1. So we've brought those down to be more in line with what we feel and what the community felt like he should be. Crouching Light Punch. This move pushes the opponent back a little bit further now. In Season 1, after 2 Crouching Light Punches blocked, you were still in throw range. Go ahead and crouch block for me, Chase. Not in throw range anymore. In Season 1, that would have thrown you.
Wow.
So now you're going to have to find other normals to use that are a little less derpy than this one. I recommend Crouching Light Kick, which is very plus and very awesome. We've also fixed a bug that lets Sabrewulf cancel Crouching Medium Punch into his Heavy Chain during hit stop, which prevented manual breakers from firing correctly. So that's supposed to look like this, and I'm sure you guys remember in Season 1 it just kind of went boom really fast, and that's gone now too. So what's new on Wolf? What kind of new toys can players expect? Well, let's say I have 2 meters,
Let's say that.
and I get a good read on a reversal. Oh God, what's happening?
Oh boy.
That's right, Sabrewulf can recapture with Shadow Leaping Slash.
Wow.
So if you get a good read on a jump back with Sabrewulf, you can Leaping Slash. Go ahead and jump back for me. Oh, that was foolish of you. Now you can eat a combo. This is very strong. And of course, that gives him awesome 2-bar techniques where he can do reversal into recapture. It's good. Look forward to it. It's very, very good. And then the last thing we've done with Sabrewulf is we've updated his instinct as well. We felt that his instinct was just too passive. Getting a strength buff and a chip buff doesn't really help the character make a comeback because it doesn't give him any new ways to open you up. The chip damage would be nice, but Sabrewulf is neutral or negative on pretty much everything he does, so he can only maintain pressure for about this long. And then it's over, right? And that doesn't really add up. So we gave him what we call a feral cancel. Anytime in neutral or any move on the ground, you can cancel into this little stance and flash. So you can run, cancel, grab. Or block this. Or don't block. You can do it mid-combo for sick manuals. Or if you want to do chip damage stuff, you can just go nuts. I gotta wait till my instinct's back. There is a little cooldown on this. You can't just do it repeatedly. About a 60 frame cooldown. You gonna block? There we go. Yeah.
Oh.
He's got really good mix-up potential when using feral cancels. One of our QA guys, Matt, has some extremely nasty stuff, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So, Sabrewulf, the derpy stuff, the real easy stuff, which is this,
Yeah.
that's not as easy anymore.
The dash.
But the ceiling got a little higher. If you're willing to put in some time and you want to learn some cool stuff with Wolf, he's got the recapture now, he's got the feral cancels. I'm looking forward to seeing the top Wolf players really take this character to the next level.
Yep.
Comments?
I'm super excited to see what.
You're the best. I love it.
No.
It's great.
I want to see what Jay Wong does with Sabrewulf. I have to be honest.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm so scared. It's him and My God and a couple other Sabrewulf players who are already like so passive aggressive, and when they get this instinct, they're gonna switch modes on you, and your brain is not gonna know what to do.
Can't be as defensive as you were.
You can't.
So.
You're gonna have to engage him. But at least his defense isn't as wildly strong anymore.
Right.
Yeah, they'll definitely be fun matches to watch.
Oh, for sure, yeah. All right, let's talk about Glacius. Glacius is a man, well, an alien man,
He is.
made of spiky ice.
That
He
is
is
true.
very slick.
He might actually be cold.
Yeah. Most of the Glacius changes we made are what I would call quality of life changes. The little bug fixes here and there that were really bothering Glacius, like hardcore Glacius players, because little things would crop up on you all the time and just make you really upset.
Right.
So the first change we made is that Shadow Cold Shoulder is slightly less negative on block. This puts it in line with other similar moves. It's -2 now, so we're going to do Shadow Cold Shoulder on me. I'll try and punish. I can't do it. That's pretty nice. Shadow Cold Shoulder will also now combo from an Ice Lance at maximum distance. This was an interesting one because the Ice Lance light would combo from there, but the Shadow one wouldn't. And now it will. And that's very nice, because it was dumb when you missed that. Shadow Puddle Punch is no longer throwable until after the first active frame. Before, it was throwable on the first active frame, and unfortunately a throw had priority there. So if you were thrown on that frame, you would get tossed. So now he actually has something that is, for sure, throw invulnerable until hit, which is very nice. It's something Glacius players were dying for. The startup time on all his jumping kicks have been increased slightly, so they're a tiny bit slower than they used to be. I don't think you'll notice too much, honestly, but it is a quality of life change for players who are being kept out by this character. And I think the reason we really talked about this change was the poke damage increase, if you guys remember, in the system changes. These hit twice as hard as they used to. So they needed to be slowed down just a tiny bit to make that feel a little bit more fair. We added a couple, I think it was 3 additional frames of recovery to Shatter. There were a lot of situations where, well, Shatter was recovering faster than a Fireball in most cases, like a Jago Fireball. And there were a lot of situations where you would jump it with the same kind of reaction as a Jago Fireball, but still eat a Crouching Hard Punch anti-air. And that didn't feel right, so we slowed that down just a tiny bit. You're going to have to be smarter with your Shatters, just by a little bit. We also fixed a bug that let you cancel out of Shadow Cold Shoulder early. Occasionally you could just do 4 hits and then just be out of it, and that was weird when people were trying to break it, because they'd go 1, 2, and then there's no extra hit at the end. And that was stupid, so goodbye. We fixed another bug that let Glacius perform an attack facing the wrong direction after he missed various moves when traveling under you. This was very prevalent on this character for some reason, and we think we squashed all those situations, but if you see any more once this releases, let us know, and we'll try and get those fixed up too. Let's talk new toys.
All right.
All right, Glacius. One of the things that Glacius fans from old KI loved was the bouncing projectile. So it's back. Let's do a light hail. He can still hold it, but if it hits the ground, it doesn't break. It bounces about 5 times. That is super, super terrifying. He can walk forward with it behind him. He can do cold shoulders to move forward with it behind him. And now it's coming, and I'm so scared. Oh, God. Yeah. And, of course, the medium hail does this as well. Just have him scoot back a little bit. That's got a much more dramatic bounce. So let me switch sides with you. Okay. You can follow it in. So unfortunately in Season 1, Glacius has kind of like this zoner archetype who doesn't have any actual full screen threat. And now he does. Medium hail is your full screen threat. It'll bounce all the way over there. Where heavy hail would just kind of shatter right before it hits you on the floor. Heavy hail does not bounce.
Right.
It just goes too far for that to really matter in most cases, so we didn't add that to heavy hail. That is super fun. There are a lot of things high-level Glacius players were doing by holding hail and then doing shoulder checks and stuff that lower-level players can now access by using a bouncing hail instead, because they won't have to hold a button while pressing other buttons. It just makes that stuff a little bit easier for those kinds of players. And I'm really looking forward to the new setups that Glacius players find using the bouncing hail.